Hello, it's your friendly host Jakob here, and welcome to episode 2 of Smashing Apps Live. This particular episode was recorded as part of the ADE Festival of Learning and features 8 incredible educators sharing tips from some of their favourite iPad and Mac apps. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss any of these tips. We've edited out some of the conversations and the delays between tips as well to make it as fast-paced as possible. Enjoy! First of all, lovely to see so many of you here joining me today. I know we've got a few more who are going to catch up on the recording afterwards, but it's very exciting to welcome you all to our second Smashing Apps Live. Now, the first one was as part of the Staff Room Unconference that Suzanne organised really, really well. This one is part of the ADE Festival of Learning. So we're opening this up to everyone and we'll be sharing it afterwards. And if you don't know, the idea of Smashing Apps, it started at the ADE Institute last summer. So we were sat around a table in the central atrium room, about 6 of us there, and we had this idea to share a couple of apps on our iPads with each other to kind of learn from what we were using in each other's schools. And we sat down, Emma got her iPad out, opened up Toontastic, demoed a few amazing things, and then before we knew it, we had to go to the session somewhere else, and we never came back to that communal space to do this again. So when we got home, I had this idea that perhaps we could try and do it virtually, and that's actually worked really well so far. We've made 7 proper episodes of Smashing Apps, and this is the second live one. And each time, it's kind of an informal chat, a bit like an app smashing session, where basically I invite people to come and show off what they enjoy, what they like doing on their iPads, and what they find benefits them in the classroom. With the live edition, I take a bit of a backseat, really. I kind of host the event and try and link it together while people do technical things. But other than that, hopefully people who are watching are going to be sharing a few tips and ideas. You don't have to share, you're very welcome to sit back and relax and enjoy and learn from everyone else. But if you do feel able to share, if you've got an app that you love or a particular tip or anything like that, I've got a few people on my list already who've already reached out to like to share. But if you're watching this and you think, you know what, I could share my screen for 2 minutes and talk about a feature in this app, or I could share something that I really enjoy on my app, drop me a message in the chat now and just say that, yes, I'd like to share, and I'll put you on my list to call on later. We'll either get no one volunteering to share, in which case this will be a really, really short episode of Smashing Apps, or peer pressure will kind of make you cave and think, you know what, yeah, maybe I could share a little something. Yeah. I've got 4 or 5 people, I've got actually 6, 7 people on my list to kind of get started. And if other people do want to step up, Matt, yes, you can volunteer on other people's behalf. We'll get the show on the road. So, without any further ado, Matt, if it's all right, could you unmute yourself and share your screen, and we'll get going.
Okay, so my quick is something that has come as part of the Keynote update, actually, and it's the video play constantly across slides. And really, it's about how to make something that looks a little bit like this. So, a video tour of your own town, where you can add in kind of the prompts to where I'm traveling to over time. So because I live in a quiet, sleepy part of the world, we don't actually have the 2D version or the 3D version. So this actually allows me to kind of explore the world around and do kind of like my own flyover. So the basics here, as you can see, is this is a video of maps. I've just done a screen recording of maps as I've moved around. One thing to kind of highlight is that when you're doing that, it's useful to then list the places that you visit, because you're going to need that a little bit later in Keynote. So I know that in this basic demo I've put together, I go from my house to the castle to Brunel's Bridge and then to the shipyard. And then in Keynote, I've just added that video across several slides. And then on each slide, corresponding to that list that I made in notes, I know that on slide 2, I have to highlight that that's my house. I might add in some extra detail there as well. So for the castle, I know that the castle actually is a top-down view. It doesn't look much. So what I've done is actually added in a picture as well. So if I just go full screen again, I can have that picture pop up alongside, so that when I identify that part, you can see it in 3D. So although Chepstow isn't in 3 dimensions, I can make it look a little bit like a flyover in 3 dimensions. Similar for the next part, I think this is Brunel's old bridge. So I've brought in some historical pictures and some more recent pictures that I can add in to give a little bit more context. And then I think the final one is the shipyard. So again, I've just added that in. Now, the reason that you need that secondary list is because I've got a flat screen here. It just shows me the start point of the video. So you need to know what's going to happen at each stage. So then when you play this through, you are in complete control of when to drop in those cursors. Oops, I didn't add in that the castle should drop at the right point. So to do that, I'm just going to come out and just go to the animate on that and just again have that to just drop in. There we go. It should work a little bit better this time. Play that through again. So I control by tapping the screen where the little drop points come in. I control for them to disappear. And then as I move around the video, and this is obviously just at the film, I could choose the next drop-in point and then drop in the picture to give it some context and then remove it as well. So there we go. Really, really simple tip. Doing flyovers. I've seen a few of these on Twitter after I shared this idea on Twitter about a week or so ago. And people were doing some really, really nice ones using the whole kind of pan into the globe and go to different locations around the world. But, whether you add in historical facts or geographical facts, just a really nice way for a bit of creativity.
That was awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. I think my first thing to mention there is that you need to start naming your presentation slightly differently, because that was presentation 163. And for someone that likes to name things and keep them really organised, that makes me feel a little bit sad.
Sorry, yeah, I do think that sometimes I might send OCD people quite mad, because I've had a conversation with Martin Coutts about this. My organisation is not great.
But that is
yeah, you kill me. You absolutely kill me with your But yeah, I love you, but you kill me. Just
it really is a great tip, and I think like you said, it's made possible by that new update to Keynote, and there are so many possibilities now of how we can integrate video and transitions and animations to help our students with their storytelling. And I think your example there of a flyover tour is a fantastic way of children adding that extra layer of content on top of what they've been doing already, isn't it? Really
yeah.
Exciting stuff. And again, another update that's completely changed the game for an app that's changed the game so many times already. They just keep bringing new things which are really powerful for schools. So yeah, great stuff, Matt. Thank you so much for sharing. We're going to move swiftly along, and I'm hoping that Chris Galley, are you there? Are you able to unmute and share your mystery tip? I've written it down as mystery. I'm not sure what this is going to be.
mystery.
But I'm hoping our mystery tip is going to be something that you can share.
I will try my best. Okay, can you see me?
Yeah, we can.
All right, well, I'm giving you a sort of 2-for-1 here, because this app that you can see on my Mac screen, Reflector, is amazing, particularly if you're doing sort of video conferences with students, or maybe if you've got your Apple TV in the classroom, then you could have your iPad and be able to show your screen there. So it's a little 2-for-1. That wasn't actually the app I was going to show. So I was going to show you the app called Pastel, which is like a color palette management tool. It's a fairly new app. So if I open this up, you can see it comes with all of these built-in color palettes here already. So if you're maybe working on a new design, a new project, and you want a particular color palette, you can use some of the built-in ones here, which are really nice. You can tap on them, you can get a closer look at the colors. Or you can make your own. So if I go to New Palette, I'm just going to give it a name. So let's call it 6 colors. And I could use the color wheel to select the colors. But what's really cool is you can choose a photo from your camera roll. And it scans the image. And you can see it's picked up the different colors there. It's actually missed one of the blue colors. So I'm just going to erase the white. And if I tap with my finger, I can add in the blue. And so that's now created that color palette. And so that's great. That looks really nice. But now what can I do with that? Well, if I open up Keynote and slide over, and say if I'm working on a design, I can actually drag and drop the colors into my work here. So if I want to color, say, the tree, and just drag and drop, give this fella some color. And it also works with drawings. So you can see this one here, I was just doodling around before. So I can actually drag into a drawing I've done in Keynote. This also works on the other iWork apps. And voila. It also works in Mail as well. So if you want to give your emails a bit of color, so hello. And again, I can drag and drop. So really neat, really good if you do a lot of design work, or if you just want to get some colorful emails. And so that's Pastel.
Chris, that is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing Pastel with us.
All right.
It's an app that I've kind of been watching get developed on Twitter. The developer, Trenton Smith, is quite active on the community on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen it as well. He's kind of gone through the process of designing it from beginning to release date, and seeing it actually kind of evolve and take shape. I haven't sat it myself yet, but it's very powerful, isn't it?
It's really good. And I think it's he's just released it on the Mac as well, and so it syncs over with iCloud. Works on the phone as well. Yeah, really good.
It's really clever, and it's such a simple idea, isn't it? In theory, just collecting a few colours, but the way you can drag and drop it onto a Keynote document, for instance.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The colour palette really makes a difference to a design. So having an app like this is fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to share that. It really is genuinely interesting. The amount of people in the chat who said they've just downloaded that off the back of what you've done there. I think
smashing.
That's been really powerful. So thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Jacob.
Awesome. Now, I wonder if Jacob, are you in the? Oh yes, you are, Jacob. Are you up for sharing?
Okay, good. This is not a traditional app tip, but I thought this would be something to watch that I'm really curious on how will develop further over the next year. So the platform GoBubble, I think I met them for the first time a year ago, but their vision is to make a safer, healthier, kind of social media designed for kids. So it is from the age of 8 years old until 13. So it is, the idea is that they should learn to navigate on social media before they can use the social media's design for adults. And it really is designed from some experts. What I really liked talking with the CEO, Henry, is that he has his background is actually from the police force, where he worked with cybercrime and was also had the sad job of also seeing when kids really are victims of cybercrime or cyberbullying online. And that was his motivation to actually create this online service, and together with educators. And this me a little bit like Facebook, but designed for kids. And there's really a lot of thoughts put into some of the mechanisms. So you don't get rewarded for the likes you get, but you get rewarded for how many likes you share with others. So to be kind to others, so that is what will reward you or give the satisfaction. And a lot of content, if you are sharing articles or something with your peers from your class, things get actually checked before published, and then they collaborate also with some trusted sources. So they also are quite aware of how to work with against fake news and things like that, and validating content. And I just thought that would be very relevant to look for how they will further develop, and if that could be interesting for schools here in this post-COVID-19 society, or Corona is here. still, but I thought to have this proactive, safe digital strategy and say, okay, how can we actually create a safe environment for kids? I think that is something that's really interesting. And some of the features that I liked is that you can share and collaborate both with the class, so the teacher is in control if they share content with only their classmates or other schools in the region or schools globally. So, yeah, and that's more information there. And I just wanted to say that I think that is something that really addresses something that I think is necessary, but and I don't think they have the perfect app yet, but I can see the kind of development they are in now. I'm really sure that this would be very interesting.
Jakob, that's fantastic. Thank you. GoBubble is another one of these things that I've kind of heard about on the grapevine, but that I haven't ever actually, either seen working or had a chance to explore myself. From what you said, though, the ethos of it, and particularly, I think you mentioned that it rewards the likes you give rather than the likes you receive. That seems like it's a really great idea to encourage responsible internet usage.
Yeah, and I think they have really thought about this kind of mechanisms they built in, and also they have an algorithm that in real time kids can see when they are typing a message to the group or something, if there are offensive words in it and so on. So it changes the color of the message that people are writing in real time, so that they actually get aware of their own language and adjusting it and so on. And if it is offensive, if it's in the red category, they can't post that comment. So I think so they also try to educate the students.
I think, like you say, it's very much by educating the children as to what part of the post is the problem, rather than banning the whole thing. It empowers the children to make a better decision next time.
Yeah, and I think also a lot of the alternative for many schools are that they just block or prohibit any social media. I think it's much better to have a proactive and try and embrace it, but choose some tools that are a bit safer, especially for the young kids. But I was quite surprised to see how many kids under 13 who actually have social media, and where the parents has helped them create a social media account and then just put a wrong day of birth into it.
It's really brilliant, and thank you for sharing that. I think, again, that's something which can have a huge impact on children all around the world, so that's really good. If we jump to Letty now, who's got a tip to share.
So I'm going to go ahead and share this one activity, this one website. This is called Mural, and I was actually introduced to Mural at an Apple Distinguished School meeting, and we have the tech rabbi come in and present, and this is free to anyone who signs up, but basically you get to create all these amazing, they have tons of free templates for you to use, and you can collaborate in basically using sticky notes. And as the presentation is going on and you are talking about different topics, then everybody's customizing their own little annotations on here. I thought it was really fun. It's really simple. All you do is you share the link, just as you do. You can do a visitor link and you just, change your settings. But it was fun. It kept us all engaged. And so I just wanted to share that if you're not familiar with Mural. And these are just different notes that I've been taking and exploring with all the different templates that I've had to do for one of the PD sessions that I've been asked to participate in. And it's a fun option for those of you working with older kids. So I just wanted to share Mural with you.
Brilliant, thank you. I haven't seen Mural at all, but it looks really interesting. It seems like a good library of resources and templates that you can then use to... And
there's so many templates. You have so many to choose from, and you can just start with a blank canvas.
Okay.
So you don't have to use theirs. You can just start blank, and then, you get to see people's creativity and what they start building within the note-taking templates. It's just amazing, and it's fun.
Wow. So the icebreaker category there, I'm assuming that's templates for activities.
Yeah, these are all icebreaker here. So it gives you like icebreaker templates, team warm-ups, and energizers. So you just you open it up, and the nice thing is that within the template you can actually edit it. So you're not you may borrow this template initially, but then you can change the font. So you're able to unlock all the descriptions and personalize it yourself. So you don't have to keep what they kept. You just unlock it, and then you're just. Let me see if I can unlock it. Of course. Okay, unlock. Sorry, here we go. And then you just create your own instructions and whatever you want people to do on here but you're borrowing their template. So it's fun.
Wow,
So I encourage you guys to check it out. Thank you for letting me share.
Oh, thank you for sharing. I can see so many uses for that. It's a really great tool. And the amount of templates that you've already shown me on there, it seems like a really good place to kind of like get some inspiration for an activity and structure something around as well, perhaps.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Letty. Benjamin, if we can move on to you, we'll give it a try.
All right, let's see if I can do that here. So, as Jakob told us or told you, I want to talk about an app that is very useful that I got to use got to know during lockdown, which is called PDF Expert. Let me just share the screen here. Should be working any second.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Okay, let's jump right into the app. Since my school is not using or has not yet changed to iPads, we do not have an LMS like, for example, Seesaw or Shobi. So we use Mural still. And I was looking for a way to correct homework assignments or any type of writing or assignment that was sent to me during the lockdown period. And I really got to love this app. As you can see, you can arrange here your every PDFs or anything that's sent to you in folders. Let me just here pull up my header for my Moodle courses in German. If anyone speaks German, you can translate that if you want to, a little exercise here. What you really can do is really is that you can correct anything. You can just, as in any PDF app, I think, for example, Documents or Goodreader, you can correct that. What is really handy here is I have stickers for my 6th graders and 5th graders. If there's some great idea that's coming up, I can just pop it in. That motivates my students. I got positive feedback. So you have different kinds of stickers here, different images, so calendar dates or deadlines, anything that you want to insert into your assignments, you can find here, and you can just drag it in. Well, just use the sun here. So you can just rearrange that basically. Well, you could put down, for example, well, let me just here, well done, for example, be careful next time. I don't know, third person asks, since I'm teaching English and Spanish. What really is the most useful feature that I'd like to share is I got mails, I got PDF files, doc files, pages files. Basically, this app is able to convert any file that it gets thrown at into a PDF without destroying any formatting or even a picture. It just turns it into a PDF right away. And when you're done correcting, you just simply tap here on the 3 dots and you can reduce the file size. And I find that very handy, especially if you depend on your email program and you get larger PDF files, for example. You can just here, you can go for lossless if you want to. It even shares you the amount of percentage that it converted or that it compressed down the PDF. So as always, I'm going for medium, for example, then I pull reduce. Yeah, and then you can just pull up mail, for example, and then you can just export your PDF as a zip file. We can do that here if you see that. So you can share that directly. You can upload that. You can compress that. For example, here you get a zip file, and you can just send it over via, I don't know, via any file service. You can see here, you can use Dropbox on the left-hand side. I have my Files app here. So it basically pulls in every server app or any kind of external file management structure that you can share. And that was my quick tip.
Benjamin, that is incredible. Thank you for going into detail there and showing the different facets and aspects of that app. This is a textbook example of why I love doing smashing apps, because time and time again, an app comes along that I've heard of but haven't tried, And I'm sitting here now looking at you demonstrating that and thinking, why have I never used this before? I'm looking at the chat and everyone there is saying it's like a required app. It's incredible. We pay for it. Every student has it. And I'm just here thinking, wow, I haven't come across this. And it sounds so powerful. It really seems like, you know, especially when you demoed the reducing a PDF file size as quickly as that. That's something a lot of my colleagues would really find useful.
Yeah, definitely. In your daily workflow, that's really, very, very useful.
I think, you know, in this day and age of remote learning as well, so many documents are being shared backwards and forwards between pupils and teachers, and being able to make it into a PDF and reduce the file size to make that process a bit smoother is a huge time saver, isn't it?
Yeah, you can even merge. I haven't shown that. It would be another part, another quick tip for another episode, is that you can even merge if you want to. You can merge files into PDFs. You can convert, give different, basically everything that you can throw at it that an iPad can handle. A PDF, a Pages document, a Keynote file, even XLS files. You just straight jump into a PDF and then you just compress that in-app and send it right away.
That's incredible. I'm going to be downloading that as soon as I've finished. In fact, I'm almost tempted to end the call now so I can download it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Benjamin.
No worries.
I really appreciate it. Suzanne, are we all right to move on to you now? I've no idea what you're going to share. It's not on my list, but I'm excited.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
All right, excellent. I'm actually have two. We'll see if I can fit it in the 2 minutes. All right. So and also I'm going to test you on your Keynote skills, because I know you guys all know it from the back of your hand. But do you actually? Are you able to find it when it's in Dutch? So what I'm actually doing this holiday is I am making a lot of grammar and English vocabulary explainer videos. And what I'm finding is that I had like something really annoying that keeps happening like this. So you can see that everything else is not in capital letters, but whenever you want to type a new word, it automatically capitalizes it. So the way you had to change that would be to go to edit here, or wijzig in Dutch, and then change it into small letters, right? And then now it's no longer capitalized, but you don't want to go through that for everything. So how you can fix this is when you go to preferences, you can go to autocorrect, and then here underneath spelling, it says don't automatically change everything into capital letters. So this is especially easy when you're doing like grammar stuff where you need all the words in separate boxes rather than writing full sentences. So if I would write this now, it wouldn't automatically capitalize everything. So that's my first quick tip. I actually had a question about how to do this in the Dutch ADE app, and then like 10 seconds later, I actually found the answer myself, and somebody said, "Oh, that's like Battlemania worthy." So that's why I got it out now. I have no idea if this is something that you guys like already knew. It was just something that was frustrating me, and I'd never looked it up.
No, I've had so many times I've wanted to use something like that.
Yeah, and of course it's not an issue on iPads because you can just, you know how autocorrect works in there. And then my second great tip is I have a bunch of these icons or these apps up here, and some of you might know this Icons 8, where you can just like type in a word and it gets you an icon in lots of different styles, and then you can just drag it in your presentation. Because we all know, like, Keynote has some great shapes, but you might want something in different styles, or you might want something obscure. But I also have one that can collect all the screenshots for me, and that's called Screeny, and that's that one. So it, of course, takes a second to end up in there, but then you'll see this pop up, hopefully. Yeah, there we go, screenshot saved. And then you can just add this one in as well. So it automatically has all the screenshots for you there. Oh, that was one of the nice beard bingo that we're doing. Collect all the Apple staff beards. And then there's this one, which is from Pixabay, and where you can go into like stock footage, where you can say, all right, I want a photo of a student, and then you can also drag those images in. Oh, and it needs to download it first, otherwise you can't drag it in. Now I should be able to. Oh. Okay. I saw somebody's question. What's the name of the screenshot one? This is called Screeny. There you go, about Screeny. That's how you write it. Yeah. So I really find this, especially the screenshot one, I use a whole lot, and the icons 8 I use a lot as well. So those were my 2 tips.
Well, that was about 4 tips in one. That was amazing. That's really good. That icons 8 one in particular, that looks so cool. Yeah,
it's really happy. It's a website, but when it's an app, it's just becomes so quick to get them in. And it's a paid for thing, but the free one you can just get like 100 pixels, which sometimes for when you just want like images on documents, like I would use this as well in like a pages document to show that, oh, this is something that the student needs to write, or then you have the audio, or this is where you need to add audio, and then 100 pixels is enough. In a presentation, you might want something bigger. Then a good thing to know is once you've downloaded everything, it will allow you to have it in 512 pixels forever. So I would pay for it for a month, search a whole lot of things that you would always use, and then you can have those images forever in like a big size, and then just cancel your subscription again. Yeah. You can change the color. Yeah, you can put in any color that you like. Yeah. Yeah, it's very similar to the Noun project. I think they have an app as well. Yeah.
That's brilliant. So thank you for sharing those different tips. Really, really powerful tools to make our workflows even more effective. I've just seen in the comments from Jakob that apparently GoBubble have got a brand new iOS app coming next week. So I don't know if that's top secret still, Jakob, or if we can talk about that, but we have just talked about that. So at this point, any secret has gone. But that's very exciting. All of this is very exciting. There have been a lot of really, really great tips shared so far. Now, I've got Martin on my list as well. Martin, are you happy to share your top tip now?
Yes, I suppose I'm going to have to, since Chris, technically, stole my tip, but it's fine. It's okay. The more love that we get for Pastel, the better. So I was now just kind of frantically sitting there and going, right, what could I do? But over the weekend, I had a little bit of a play with creating Memoji music videos. So I had one that I did with, you guys hear that?
No, can't hear that audio.
No, audio not coming through. That's okay. So that's Sherry by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, and I'd attended a session where someone was using an app called Acapella, and I was sitting with I was talking to a few others who were attending it and kind of going, is there a way that we could make this all on iPad? So I sat with messages and screen recording open, and I started to bring a few different things together, where I was looking at, and that's a Mat Pullen tip, I should have do not disturb on. There we go. And as I was going through it, I thought, right, how could I bring all this together? So the way that I did it was I recorded myself using my iPad singing or miming the song. Then I took the audio from the song and I put it all together on the 4 individual tracks using iMovie. But as you know, iMovie doesn't have a way that you can put it all together into sort of different sections. And when you do that with Keynote, you lose the sync, you lose the audio. So after I synced my audio in iMovie and I had my 4 individual tracks, I would take one of them that had the backing track, I would edit it, and I would remove, and I did it on another iPad, but I would, you know how in Photos you've got that option where you can just deactivate the audio within a particular track. I did that on the 3 backing singers. So the only main track was the first Memoji singer person. And then what I did was I went into this app called LumaFusion. And if you've not used LumaFusion before, I highly recommend you have a look at it, because it is about as close to Final Cut on iPad as you can get. And as much as I like all of these different tips that we're getting, when someone still has to rely on their Mac, or when they still have to go back to their Mac, an iPad purist like me begins to go, yeah, we need to, let's see if we can do all of this on iPad. So to do something as simple like this on LumaFusion, it's as simple as create a project. So I'm just going to create a new project here. No, I want to do that. So let's create a new project. Just call it my project. There we go. And what's quite good about LumaFusion is it can actually handle up to 6 4K simultaneous streams all at the same time. So some of these, the WWDC video last year that had all of the photography, that was all edited on an iPad with LumaFusion. That's how powerful LumaFusion is. So then all I started to do was go through and got my 4 tracks. And if you've used Final Cut, it is very, very similar to that, because you just go down, and because I'm not downloaded, but what we do is we just drag them into place. Very, very similar to Final Cut. And then you can even start to trim them. So if I go to the bottom track, edit it, right, what we can do is we can set it for the top left. All right, that's fine. So happy with that one. Then we can edit them all for different places. And then all you need to do with them is decide where you want them to go. So you can put one up there. Then we can go to this one, and you just change the position as you want all 4 to go. So I will put him bottom right. That's fine. Then you can change the size, you can adjust it, you can crop it all over. And because the only track that has the audio against it is that that first singer, that Frankie Valli version, then I'm able to go back and decide where I want everyone to go. So you can see I've got everyone in different places, and then it just exports. And when you go to export them, they can all start to export in. You can choose the same way that you would do with your stream, and I think because I haven't downloaded them. But when you go to share it, you've got that option where you can export it as a movie, do everything that you would do as if you were in iMovie. The difference is you can actually start to frame it, and the final result looks something like this. And I realise you might not have the full audio. Let's see if I take my mic. But the full version of that is on my Twitter that you can have a look at. And yeah, that was just a little kind of fun project, just taking the 4 Memoji streams and putting things together and just doing it that way. So yeah, that was mine. Can I just add the one last thing into Pastel that I never got a chance to do? What you might not know about Pastel, because what's quite cool about it is you can go the opposite way. Right, so if you've got a palette you've created, right, and you've got colors in here that you want to use, right, you can actually take those individual colors. So say you've been working in Keynote, you can actually take those individual colors and you can drag them back over to Pastel. So if I pick up this one, take it over here, you can actually, so if you've had something that you've been working with in Keynote and you want to keep that for future purposes, you can drag it across from any of the iWork apps into Pastel as well. I just thought that was another good little bit. But yeah, LumaFusion, a good way to kind of take your video editing skills above iMovie just that little bit. Plus, if you're doing stuff with Memoji, think about your audio and how it all syncs up. And that's my tip.
Brilliant, thank you for that. LumaFusion, that is such a powerful app. I haven't tried it myself, but the demo you've given now is remarkable. Remind me, Martin, how did you get the emoji videos recorded in photos? Did you do it in messages and then long?
Yeah, so I went into messages, switched it to full screen, started to. So I had my iPhone with my AirPods in, listening to the song, and as I was listening to the song, it gave me that kind of. I recorded it for the number of vocal tracks that I needed. So I would start listening to the song with my AirPods in so that I knew I was starting at the right time. That way I didn't have to worry about, was this one starting at the same place? And then I just kind of did a little bit of editing with iMovie to get the audio to sync up. And then I just threw it into LumaFusion to do that kind of grid and editing. You can do a lot more with it. It's got a lot of the transitions and moves that you would find in Final Cut. What's quite good about LumaFusion as well, I meant to point this out, is if you take you can export a project from LumaFusion into Final Cut Pro. So you can edit a Final Cut Pro project on your iPad using LumaFusion, and then you can throw it back into Final Cut. You can kind of go between the two. So it's about as close, Jacob, if you think of that podcast episode we did where I mentioned Final Cut for iPad, LumaFusion right now is about as close as we can think without it actually being an official one.
Is that the podcast episode, Martin, where we drafted WWDC iOS 14 features and you lost quite badly to me? Is that the one?
Yeah, the one I lost by 1 point. That was,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was.
yeah, by 1 point, but that I will get you back. And it was just not that I'm a sore loser, but I will get you back.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Really great tips. While we are waiting, though, can I just say a huge thank you to everyone who has shared a tip tonight. It's been really, really great, and I think we've had about 8 people share something, which is a record for Smashing Apps. Normally, on a scheduled, planned episode, we have 4 people. On the last live one, we had 5, so having 8 this time is really impressive. I've now got to try and fit all of your little faces onto the artwork when I release this as a video afterwards. So if I don't have your Memoji, when this is finished, could you send it to me on Twitter? Just a little picture of your Memoji looking a bit happy or whatever. And I'll put that in the artwork when we share this on the ADE site and on YouTube afterwards, in case you wanted to catch up. Oh, James, I think I can see you connected on a device. Perfect.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so this is a very short tip, an app that I've been using during lockdown that's been quite popular with the kids. It's called Decide Now. It's a spinning wheel that you can put different, you can edit and put different choices in. So if I just open this up, this is one I've done on maths definitions. So this was kind of used it as a starter and a plenary. If you just tap the thing in the button in the middle, it will just spin round and land on something that one of your students then has to define. So LCM, that would be then a starter, and they can either write that down or put something in a chat, define what LCM is. Okay, I've got plenary here. So this one has things like a post-it, I still need to know, tweet it. So this was just a way at the end of a topic, you could just spin this round. It's the anticipation, I think, that draws people in. Everybody's looking, oh, excellent, that's the one I wanted, or no, I didn't want that one, I wanted choose 5 keywords or something like that. What's your opinion? This was something, again, if I just spin this round, you can't really see it on the wheel, but you can see things at the top.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it will just start. Would you rather be Batman or Spider-Man? Just sparks a discussion there. I've also got wheels with all my class members that say the kids' names in it. So if I wanted someone to give me an answer, again, it's that anticipation. You use the wheel, you spin it round, and that chooses which student is going to answer the question. So it's easy to set up. If you just go into that cog there, all right, there's a little plus button down the bottom you can see under plenary. If you press that plus button, then you can just start adding labels. Okie dokie, that's kind of it.
That's really good. It's like a modern version of the lollipop sticks, isn't it? To pick out a name or to give an idea for a.
Yeah, that's right. And like I said, with remote learning, they can't come and pick the lolly sticks out.
Yeah.
They'll be able to touch lolly sticks now when we get back, perhaps. And so it's proved really useful over lockdown.
Absolutely, I can see a lot of use of that in the classroom post-lockdown as well. You know, I'm in my head thinking about perhaps using it as like a sentence starter activity, where you have a dozen different sentences starters, and the children will go off and will choose one and start their piece of writing based on that, or for an exit ticket at the end of a unit to kind of get that feedback and that assessment going on as well. It's really, really good. I am going to wrap things up now at the end. I say again, thank you so much, all of you. We have started off with Keynote with the video streaming. We've had Chris, who demonstrated Pastel, where you can then drag and drop colours between apps and save palettes that you use regularly. We had Jakob talking about GoBubble and breaking the news about a GoBubble app, which is coming out very soon. Letty demonstrated Mural, which is a great tool for kind of starting off a planning document or starting a collaborative lesson plan. We've had Benjamin, who demonstrated PDF Expert. We had Suzanne, who demonstrated about 1 million different tips, my favourite which was Icon 8, really effective. We had Martin talking about his emojis and LumaFusion. Thank you, Martin. And James for showing Decide Now at the end. Absolutely fantastic. I'm worried that I've forgotten someone in all the excitement, but I think that was everyone. But honestly, for 45 minutes, well, for an hour, have 8 really brilliant tips shared by 8 really brilliant educators is inspiring and really genuinely a privilege to get to share. Also, I will be uploading this to YouTube. I'll edit out some of the bits between the segments. If I don't have your emojis yet, please do share them, send them across to me. And I'll see you all again soon. Lovely seeing you this evening. Bye. Hey, thanks for watching that video. Now, if you enjoyed that and you want to find some more quick tips for your iPad or to use in your classroom, do me a favour and press the subscribe button down below. That will really help me out, and it will help you keep up to date with all the latest tips and tricks on my YouTube channel.